Lately, you might have seen people online asking if PCOS should be classified as an autoimmune condition and whether endometriosis should be classified as a form of cancer. Technically, the answer to both is no. But the reason that people keep asking about this is the real story. Welcome back to Wellworthy Weekly. These questions really reflect something deeper, and it's that the labels that the medical system currently places on some of these conditions don't always align with the patient's lived experiences and can potentially limit their ability to get quality care. So, why are people questioning how PCOS and endometriosis are classified? Officially, PCOS is an endocrine disorder, but many patients show other symptoms like chronic inflammation, immune dysregulation, and overlap with other autoimmune conditions like lupus or thyroid disease. Endometriosis, while it's officially benign, there are some characteristics about it that behave like cancer. And while I'm pretty sure no one's lining up to say they have cancer, this overlap is what's bringing up the question. Some of these characteristics would be invading nearby tissue, spreading, and recurring despite treatment. And what it really comes down to for many people, myself included, is that when you're experiencing something that, for instance, is just labeled as a hormonal condition, when you're living with chronic pain, inflammation, or fatigue that affects your whole body, it doesn't just feel like hormonal imbalance. It feels systemic. And that's why there are so many people who are begging at this point for these conditions to be looked at differently. So while there is definitely opportunity for more research into these conditions, what does the current research say about them? In terms of PCOS, research points to low-grade inflammation and autoantibody activity in some women. So while it's not classified as autoimmune, the immune involvement is real. In terms of endometriosis, it can share some molecular traits with cancer, whether it comes to cell proliferation, angiogenesis, or even just the estrogen dependence. But it is non-malignant. Basically, it's not cancerous. However, there is a small subset of ovarian cancers that are linked to long-term endometriosis. But in its totality, that's more of the exception than it is the rule. So if people's lived experiences are so disconnected from the reality of how some of these conditions are generally treated, what is the reason behind this? One of the many reasons is that women's health research has long been siloed into reproductive medicine. So while these disorders are multi-systemic, the healthcare system rarely treats them that way, which leads to one of the bigger reasons why people are looking for these bigger labels, whether it's autoimmune or cancer. The intention is really to communicate the severity of these conditions, and in turn for people to take them with that level of seriousness, that level of urgency. So when people start calling things or asking and questioning if something could be an autoimmune condition or if something could be more like a cancer, really what they're asking is, hey, these are systemic conditions and we want you to take it seriously and take the severity of these conditions seriously. So why are these conditions so often underestimated? As I mentioned, these conditions are often lumped under the category of reproductive health. With that said, it has systemically limited funding, resulted in any research towards these conditions being continuously underfunded, underprioritized, under-researched. What this is also translated into is that these conditions are constantly viewed through the lens of fertility instead of your whole body and whole system health. Also, because these conditions are systemic, you need a wide range of specialists, but care for these conditions is poorly integrated across specialties. Someone who has PCOS or endometriosis or probably several other conditions as well, they might need to see an endocrinologist, a cardiologist, a rheumatologist, and OBGYN, or even an immunologist in order to get a full picture of what's happening in their bodies. So when people say PCOS is autoimmune or endo acts like a cancer, they're not just being dramatic. They're reacting to a mismatch between the science and their lived experience and the level of seriousness given to their conditions in medical settings. So maybe the point isn't whether or not PCOS is autoimmune or whether endometriosis is cancer. The point is, we are finally challenging definitions that minimize chronic women's health conditions to manageable or normal. When we push for these new frameworks and know they don't have to be that one is autoimmune and one is a cancer, we're pushing for ones that consider hormones, inflammation, immunity, and environment together, plus whatever else needs to be in there. And this shift will help us move closer to care that actually helps people to feel better. Thank you for joining this week's Wellworthy Weekly. Comment below and let us know if you've ever felt that your diagnosis and or treatment didn't really cover the full scope of your experience. If you'd like to dive deeper into this topic, check out the link that will include. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you guys next week for the Wellworthy Weekly.